Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Dealing with entitled guests and managing their expectations can be a tricky part of working in a service-oriented industry. The part where the lady's husband threatened assault is a serious escalation, and it's good that the front desk handled it by calling the police. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Get back to work, you bee! This was over 7 years ago. My husband used to work as a houseman, someone who restocks things like soaps, towels, and cleaning chemicals on the maid carts. He was not house cleaning or a service boy for the nicest hotel in our tiny fishing village. That's not saying much. The place was run horribly and the employees were not treated well by guests or management. This nice hotel was the only one that had its own restaurant and bar, which attracted some very interesting characters. I was at the hotel a lot to use their Wi-Fi and chat with the bartender who I was friends with. We lived on a boat in the bay that the hotel overlooked, but that's another story. The hotel looked good on the outside, but the rooms were dated and amenities minimal for something with a 3.5 to 4-star rating. My husband worked the night shift, 4 p.m. to midnight or so. He'd come down with a terrible flu one Friday night, but his coworkers kept ditching work, so he had to cover. I decided to help him out because, 1, there was no management that night, 2, the job is a lot of hard work for one person and he was sick, and 3, the job requires next to no human contact. You mostly are in maids' closets stocking things or in the maintenance shop replacing stuff that got depleted during the day. The first few hours go well. I'm doing most of the heavy lifting because he was weakened from sickness. Around 10 p.m., I'm basically done with all the difficult stuff and my husband just had a few more rounds to make sure the closets were locked. I decided to head over to the now closed hotel bar to chat with the bartender. I see my bartender friend wiping down the tables and sit down. He pours me some wine that was left over from earlier, some red I think it was. The bar was closed with most of the lights off, but you can see it from the lobby where you check in. A middle-aged woman wanders in and comes over to the bar. Bartender: "Sorry, we're closed." Lady: "I need a drink and some more pillows delivered to my room." Bartender: "As I said, we're..." Lady: "I was talking to her." I'm super groggy at this point from lifting heavy carts of crap and I don't work there, so I could not make her a drink or get her pillows. The rooms were locked and my husband had the keys. Me: "Sorry, I don't work here." Lady: "Of course you do. I saw you with that other kid. Now bring me a martini and pillows to room 111. Bartender: "Ma'am, I'm not serving anymore. The bar's closed. And she does not work here." Lady: "What do you mean the bar is closed? It's only 10 p.m. and I saw this maid earlier with towels. I want to speak to a manager. Get back to work, you bee." The front desk hears this and calls my husband, who's basically dead in the maintenance shop. My husband tells them they're out of pillows, it was a busy Friday night, and other guests had already depleted their supply. Me: "Look, lady, I don't work here, I can't get you pillows, and I'm certainly not helping someone who just insulted me." She stormed over to the front desk guy, who's also my friend, babbling on about how I'm drinking on the job, I'm a lazy bee, and she needs a martini. He calmly explains that he's the manager. Not, but might as well be. I do not work here, the bar is closed, and there are no more pillows. She starts screaming about how unprofessional and ratty this place is. Why is a bar closed at 10 p.m., blah, 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 until he finally asks her to leave a customer satisfaction report by dialing this phone number. It's a dead line. She roars up to her room. We think it's over. I finish my wine and exchange laughs at the front desk. The three of us, bartender, front desk, and myself, chuckle because, yeah, closing at 10 p.m. is stupid, but not our rules. I go off to find my husband as it's almost 11 p.m. now and he's almost off. Husband and I leave and go back to our boat, which is a stone's throw away from the hotel. We see red and blue flashing lights as we're walking down the steps to the beach where our kayaks are to row out to our boat, and get a text from the front desk friend. Apparently, the lady brought her husband down who threatened assault on the front desk for not getting them pillows and booze. Front desk called the cops, and they were told that if they did not calm down, they'd be thrown out. Note: yes, it's stupid the bar closes at 10 p.m. Yes, it's stupid we ran out of pillows. There's another story involving me driving to Target while husband's on shift and buying 50 pillows because management does not order supplies. Fun. Just to play devil's advocate, and believe me, I'm not defending the terrible guest, but I'd be a bit confused if I walked up to a bar that was closed if there was someone who was not an employee drinking there. I wouldn't handle it like the guest did, but I would wonder if there was another reason they weren't serving me. Will you fix the lights? I live in a unit complex managed by a certain public Strata corporation that cares very little about its tenants. A few years back, we had some really old common area lighting that used fluorescent tubes that needed to be replaced frequently. Strata obviously got sick of replacing them all the time, and also they did a poor job of illuminating common areas, so they installed brand new LED lamps with built-in motion-sensing dimmer switches. They'd go bright when they sense motion and dim when idle. When installed, they were on 24 hours a day. Fast forward to about 9 months ago, we started having regular issues with the common area lighting. Usually they'd turn off for no reason, and Strata would have to send a contractor out to fix them. This coincided with a nearby property development. Strata took advantage of this development by shifting the blame to the energy provider, who had supposedly flagged the light switch as being turned off as a safety risk to workers in the nearby development, but only our common area lights. Okay, that's not how electricity works. And they also started rewiring the lights to fully turn off during the day, from about 7 a.m. to about 8 p.m. This was a problem, and I made sure to tell Strata this too. See, our building has a common garage area with carports that are completely undercover. It's literally built into the underside of our building. During broad daylight, if these lights are off, it's pitch black in the carports. A person could easily hide in the carports next to cars, or even in empty carports and jump people as they pass by, which isn't totally out of the question for the area. Up until about 3 months ago, Strata would begrudgingly restore the original lighting settings for about a week or two before sending another contractor out to set them back to time. However, when I called Strata this time, they informed me that due to a new policy, the lights could not be restored to their former settings. I asked to speak to the supervisor of the person I was speaking to, and it went a little something like this. Supervisor: the lights cannot be on at day. Me: the lights have to be on at day. Otherwise, you can't see what you're doing in the stairwell or in the garage area. We have elderly residents here and people with mobility issues. Someone could easily fall and break something. Supervisor: that doesn't change anything. Until someone does break something, we can't change the lighting settings. So naturally, with this in mind, I devised some malicious, if not self-painful, compliance. See, a few days prior to this call, Strata had sent me a letter demanding I dispose of a couch outside my door on the common area. I had plans to do it anyway, as it had only been there for 2 days, and the lighting situation made it hazardous to do whenever I had some free time and an extra set of hands. But I decided to throw caution to the wind because I was determined to get those lights fixed. With the aid of one of my neighbors, we began carefully moving this couch down 3 flights of stairs. As we get to the bottom, I trip and fall down half a flight of stairs, with a 3-seater couch following close behind me. Naturally, this hurt a lot, and I ended up going to the hospital for a couple of broken bones. Once I had a spare moment in the hospital, I called Strata to repeat my request. Naturally, they jumped straight to, "We can't do anything until we've confirmed it's a safety hazard." They changed their tune really quick once they heard about my injuries. By the time I got out of the hospital, the lights were reconfigured to be on 24 hours a day. I haven't had an issue yet. The pain was worth it, to be honest. I'd rather take the injury than one of our elderly neighbors. And our last story. Neighbor feels entitled to our driveway. We live in a non-HOA neighborhood in an unincorporated part of the county that's outside the city limits, meaning we have to call the county for any police issues. Our street is a long and somewhat busy thoroughfare to the rest of the neighborhood, but we live at the very end of the street, which culminates in a dead end, so there's not a lot of traffic at our end. We bought our house in 2012 and have had problems with one neighbor from day one. When we found tire tracks in our front yard from him doing donuts on the same day that we closed. I should note that neighbor has a huge driveway and has basically devoted his whole yard to parking vehicles, while we have a strip of concrete and simple landscaping. We have 4 running cars. Our driveway is long enough to accommodate all of them, but sometimes one or the other has to park on the edge of the street at the edge of our yard. The first time we did this, we met neighbor across the street face to face when he rang our doorbell and started cussing at us and pointing fingers and how dare you park your car there on our own land, and raging about how he almost hit our car backing out of his driveway and how he had to look in the rear window when backing out, etc., etc. Did I mention he drives a lifted truck? So ever since then, he's done some passive-aggressive stuff, most of which we couldn't pin on any specific neighbor, but he's the only one who holds a grudge. Our mailbox got mowed down, had to be completely replaced. Fireworks on pretty much any event. Always aimed at our house, at the front door, at the garage, and our cars. We have burn marks on the garage door where the kids aimed bottle rockets or Roman candles at it. Recently, a note on one of our cars stating, "You park like an a-hole." The car in question was fully in our own driveway, not blocking traffic, not on the side of the road. A family friend of his came over for a visit, and he told her to use our driveway to park in. We came home from shopping, and there's a big SUV in the middle of the driveway. We parked on the edge of the street, which must have gotten his attention because the friend came running, telling us that she would move, but when she did come over, she acted like she was doing us a big favor by moving her car out of our driveway. The trash/recycling's the most annoying. Every single week, someone has knocked over either the trash or the recycling bin. They come on the same day, into the ditch just behind the mailbox. We've been blaming the garbage bin for it, but after over a year of observing this, the garbage guys don't knock over anyone else's cans, just ours. And not both of them, just one of them. Last week, the recycling bin went into the ditch and it was full, and our daughter and I had to go out and pick up the cans and paper all over the place. While doing so, the neighbor was standing on his driveway watching us and smirking, and it dawned on me that he's been doing it all this time. It's not an occasional thing, it's an every single week, one of those cans is going down thing. We've even moved the placement of the cans to the far end of our lot, where it would be way out of his way to knock them down, and they still get knocked down. So I know that I need to get him on camera, and I'm going out to get some cameras this weekend, and I've already staked out where the best place on the house to put them to capture him knocking them down. I'm also going to start sitting outside on trash day, hoping to maybe catch him in the act with my phone camera. Update. We fenced the lot, installed an automatic gate, we installed cameras everywhere. I documented everything and recorded what I could legally, repeatedly until I had enough to charge them with harassment. Now, if anything like that happens again, he'll be arrested. Let's hope that with the evidence our OP's gathered, this neighbor will think twice before causing any more trouble. At the end of the day, we all just want to live peacefully in our homes, right? Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.